Happy Tuesday. I'm Dominique. I'm one half of the Booktrospective duo, and on Tuesdays, I spoil books for you because on Mondays, we drop an episode fully spoiling the book for you. However, this is an SJM book. It is long, and I just don't have the wherewithal to truly spoil it like I do the other books. So this is going to be a little shorter, but if you want the full spoil, head over to Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts and take a listen to the Booktrospective podcast. This is actually part 2 of Queen of Shadows. We did part 1 2 weeks ago, last year. So in part 2, basically what goes down, Erebin is dead. He was the king of assassins and basically did a lot of shady stuff to Aelin and a whole bunch of other people. So now it's time to take down the king. Now it's time for me to knight the king, or whatever Ron said. Anyways, so basically, short story, Aelin goes, short story is they kidnap Lysandra because she's a shapeshifter, and when Erebin was killed, he sent a message to the king, so they have to go get her back, but because Chaol sucks so bad, he gets them captured because he's just convinced that Dorian is inside of him and he can save him, which Dorian is inside of there, but Chaol can't save him. Meanwhile, they go to capture her back because the king and Manon and the witches and her grandmother are all meeting up with the wyverns and some like new magic mirror thing that they built that can just amplify power. So they get her back, but then also we get Dorian and Manon meeting. Princeling, witchling, would you bleed blue or black? I'll bleed whatever color you want me to bleed. We love Dorian. Anyways, so then Aelin and Manon square off. Knock down a whole island, but then Aelin's like, I'm a good person. I'm going to save Manon. Now Manon owes her a debt. Rowan takes an arrow in the back for Aelin. Bal dies. He lives. And then it's time to take down the king. So Rowan and Aedion go into they're going to take down the tower. Unfortunately, Lorcan sucks. Lorcan has convinced the word hounds to track down Rowan, so they're waiting in the tower and they're kicking their ass. And then Aelin and Chaol go, and she like pretends to be Celaena still, but the king already knows who she is. Go to try to go to see the king or whatever. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna basically kill Dorian. I don't care about him. But then Dorian Demon Daddy starts fighting Aelin, and the king basically is like taking out Chaol. He had not a fighting chance. Lysandra is supposed to be out of the city. She's not. She comes back, and when the tower finally does get knocked down because Lorcan comes back to help, she shapeshifts into like this white wolf demon thing and eats everybody, all the Vogue, eating them up. But then finally, Aelin can release her power. She's fighting Dorian, but then the king comes out and is like, haha, by the way, I killed Chaol. That snaps him. Dorian is pissed. He starts taking out the king. They get the ring off of Dorian. They get the demon out of Dorian. And then the king's like, wait, I'm innocent. I really did actually, Duke Harrington is the big dog. I'm the second in command. And I basically made the tower so that like they wouldn't know Dorian had magic. I don't know if that's true. We don't know how to feel about that. And Dorian loses his shit and explodes, and the entire glass castle collapses. King is dead. Dorian's asleep. Chaol is paralyzed from the waist down and asleep. And Aelin basically tells the citizens like, hey, I killed the king. I'm in charge until Dorian decides to be in charge. If you fuck with me, you're going to find out. Basically, that's what she says. Meanwhile, Manon has to go back and save Elide because trying to make her breed with the Vogue because she has witch blood. So she goes back, saves her, but then sweet Kaltain, torture Kaltain is like, hey, swap me, I'll go in because they think Elide and Kaltain looks alike. She goes in there, she releases all of her shadow fire and like blows up all of Morath. So basically they get Elide out of there, drop her off in the middle of the woods, and surprise, the nasty scar that Kaltain had on her arm was because there was a word key in there. Tell Elide that she needs to get the word key to Celaena. She does not know that Celaena and Aelin are the same thing because she's like, okay, I'm gonna get this to Celaena, and I'm going to also try to find Aelin. Doesn't know that those are the same people. Also, the reason that they even knew that they could save Dorian is because basically as her life debt, Manon flew into town and was like, killed a whole bunch of Vogue and wrote like in blood, like, the prince is in there. He's in there, witch killer or something like that. Yeah. So that happened. And then, so Elise in the middle of the woods, can't read, and has a word key, and has a fucked up foot. It's stupid. Whatever. And then they go back to Morath. Of course, Duke Parrington and Vernon did not die. They're terrible, but they're still alive, and they basically make it off like Elise died or whatever. And then at the end of the book, basically, our team is splitting up a little bit. Chaol is going to the South continent with Nezrin to see if he can go to the Torre Chesme, see if they can fix his back or whatever, and see if he can walk again. Meanwhile, Aelin and everyone else is going to, I think Dorian stays behind. I think Dorian stays in the castle, but everyone else is going to Terrasen. And she gets to Terrasen and she realizes it smells like home, but it also smells like her man's Rowan. Yes, that was very short, cut, dirty. If you want to hear the full details, head over to the podcast. I will be back next week to spoil next week's episode.